talking about the topic, Dr. Coberly, about SBAC and some Common Core and some superintendent's concerns. I know we were talking about recently that there was a white paper that you and other superintendents signed regarding SBAC. Explain what is SBAC and your concerns about that with other superintendents.
Sure. Well, the SBAC is an assessment, one of two consortia assessments. The other one's called the PARC. But the SBAC and the PARC came in on the heels of the development of the Common Core curriculum.
Okay.
And after it was, the curriculum was implemented in the state of Idaho, we went to this new assessment. It takes between 6 and 7 hours, grades 3 through 8, and once in high school. Currently it's being given at the 10th grade in the state of Idaho. It's a lengthy assessment. It's especially hard on our special education and limited English students who have extreme difficulty with the SBAC. So there actually have been two white papers, one written by the superintendents in the Southern Idaho Conference, and then a resolution to the Idaho School Boards Association written by the Boise District's board.
Okay.
And I mean, both really had the same tenor. You have to get good information from the assessment that we're giving so teachers can have a chance to improve instruction. We don't really get any of that sort of information from the current assessments.
Okay. What Common Core, we've heard a lot about there. Any concerns for you and other superintendents about Common Core, and what's the status of that right now?
Well, it's fully implemented, and I would say in the Southern Idaho Conference, 9 districts, Nampa, Boise, West Ada, and 6 others, that we feel like the curriculum's been well implemented. There's been lots of training for teachers. Teachers have written units surrounding the core. I think it's called the Idaho Core in this state. But, you know, I mean, the instruction in the Common Core is going well. Lots of writing with kids. There is more nonfiction writing now, although we still teach the great works of literature in our English classes. I think we're doing a better job of getting kids to understand the underlying principles in mathematics. So I think that's gone well. The assessment, on the other hand, has not.
Okay. Well, there's other concerns about some of the content of Common Core in that, I don't know if you've heard about Islam education. I've seen some textbooks recently where they've been introduced in Middleton School District about Islam and
don't know much about that.
Okay.
You'd have to talk to the superintendent in Middleton. I think his name's Josh Middleton.
Josh, okay.
I think the implementation's gone well here because we've done a lot of training of our teachers, and I think they feel pretty confident with the instructional piece. It'd just be nice to get some feedback on how kids are doing on particular elements of the assessment. So I'll give you an example, all right? So if you tell a teacher, well, you know, your kids aren't doing very well in geometry. Well, the teacher's first question is going to be, well, what parts of geometry? Does it have to do with Pythagorean theorem? Is it a square root issue? Blah, blah, blah. The problem is this assessment doesn't tell you any of that.
Okay.
So as opposed to the SAT, which, you know, the College Board releases the entire assessment and releases the results for every district on every question. So, you know, if I'm looking at a particular question in mathematics, I can get a good understanding if kids, you know, they're weak in understanding the implications of square roots or equalizing equations, etc. So the SAT, to our mind, is a very good assessment in that it gives us that kind of information because that's our first criterion for an assessment.
And also about data mining. You know, I've heard those concerns about, you know, for parents, you know, information going to the federal government. It may be a lot different now that there's a new president in place. I don't know. Do you know anything about the concerns that parents might have about data mining and SBAC?
I've heard some of that, but quite frankly, you know, there's a website that we log into for the information with regard to how our students are doing on the SBACs, not very much. Otherwise, we don't really know any more than that. So, I mean, we look at the information that we get, and it tells us that a kid's not proficient, and we don't know much more than that.
Also, they're concerned about Governor Otter and then Tom Luna about Common Core and something signed after legislature left town. Do you know anything about that?
I don't know anything about that.
Okay.
What I do know is that the governor and the current state superintendent and the legislature have worked really hard to increase teacher salaries through the career ladder.
Oh, okay.
And we feel really good about that. But yeah, right now I think the relationship's really good. Obviously, we were opposed to the Luna laws when they came out. They were overturned, and I think people are working much better together now.
Okay. Any upcoming, you think, more white papers, more concerns shared?
I think that the Southern Idaho Conference superintendents are feeling like we need to get more heavily involved in suggesting replacement for the SBAC. We're currently investigating the Iowa assessments, the good old Iowa Test of Basic Skills, that do provide substantial information for teachers. We've had a couple of meetings about that, and we're kind of looking to the future and what we might be able to do together to suggest some better assessments. All of the kids in the Southern Idaho Conference this year, all the fifth graders took a direct writing assessment, which is a locally developed assessment. So we were able to get a handle on some of our kids' writing skills. That went really well, and the information was shared back to the teachers within a week. I mean, that's really our primary concern. Can we get information that's helpful for instruction?
Okay. Also, we're talking about, there was a kind of a protest on the state capitol. Senator Fulcher was there regarding, I don't know, what's Common Core. Do you know anything about that?
I don't know.
Okay. And
I do know there was a protest this last week over the new Secretary of Education.
Oh, yeah.
But from our perspective, parents can excuse their kids, give them an excused absence. We had looked like about 300 kids went down to the Capitol to express their opinion. It was really very similar to our absence rate on a regular school day.
Okay. Any other concerns that you or superintendents might have that we haven't addressed?
No, I mean, it goes back to this thing I've been talking about all along, is that we need good information in order to improve instruction. And so we need an assessment that'll provide us that kind of information. The one we have now doesn't. On that, Mila and I agree. I think a number of people, if they had a better handle on how it looks, in other words, what do the results look like, they'd understand what we're talking about.
We've been talking about Mila Wood, and she's been very active, involved. Concerns about this, not only SBAC, but Common Core issues. But how long have you known Mila Wood? And
Really, we've been acquaintances for, I think, a couple of years. But, we agree to disagree on the Common Core. I think we agree pretty much fully on the fact that we need a better assessment. And you got to understand, the issue for school districts, again, is the information that we get for improving instruction.
So I'm sure this issue of Common Core is going to continue to be a live issue, but it may not, with a new president in place, it may not depend upon the new education person. I don't know what her perspective is on the Common Core, if they plan to undo that, unravel it throughout the states.
Well, previous to her appointment, she was supportive of the Common Core in Michigan. Where that will go now, because obviously President Trump is opposed, we'll see. The standards were adopted by the state. They're called the Idaho Core Standards. Obviously, they're derived from the Common Core. So we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah. Have you ever heard any concerns of parents about I've often heard concerns about indoctrination in Common Core, human sexuality or
those aren't part of the Common Core standards. No, it's English language arts and math.
Okay, that is way as for Idaho. There's some other components, social studies, I don't know, but you only deal with math and,
I mean, we teach Idaho history in fourth grade. We teach U.S. history in ninth and 11th.
okay.
We meet the state requirements in social studies. So, yeah, I think the thing that to understand is that, at least for the Boise district, we have a thriving advanced placement curriculum in which over half our kids participate.
Okay.
So, I mean, when you're talking about AP US history or AP calculus, courses that prepare kids for college, we're going really well above what's required in the Common Core standards. So, we've been working pretty hard to increase the participation in advanced placement coursework in our district. 20 years ago, we had about 200 kids participating. Now we have 2,000.
Okay.
So, I mean, we're really devoted to rigor in the curriculum, and it's expressed in our participation in advanced placement, which is college-level rigorous courses.
Okay, I sure thank you, Don, for
Sure thing.
Sharing, and I know it's probably going to continue to be a hot issue. So.
I imagine so.